McCarthy has said he will deal with this night and how he'll comport himself and how he'd like to see his fellow Republicans do so.
Well, he did say that he is not going to be as Nancy Pelosi was behind Trump. We all remember the pictures during one of Trump's State of the Unions that she looked fairly critical and did the hand clap. He that was sort of a dig toward her. But he did say he was going to comport himself, and he looks to be doing that right now. It'll be interesting what he claps about. Of course, we'll be able to hear the applause of the room, but are there specific notes that Biden strikes that he will appear to be supportive of? That's going to be really interesting because remember, he got his speakership after making deals with a faction of Republicans who are hardliners and want him to be tougher. So he also will be under the microscope tonight in terms of how he looks, how when he claps, what his facial expressions look like, all of that.
A new generation of Democratic leadership, James. And of course, we're seeing a revitalized House leadership, Kevin McCarthy squeaking through in that speaker vote. How big of a role
Okay.
is it of leaders like Leader Schumer or Majority Leader Schumer, but in a body that's less relevant now that Republicans control the House, or a leader like Leader Jeffries?
Yeah, there is a
Let's see
generational
if
change.
this is
Jeffrey's
anything
taking
like
the
his
role of
last
moving party,
address to
but they do
the
come
country,
of very
calling
different generations. They have different
half of the
constituencies, and it is an
people
open question.
enemies of the
Pelosi
state.
made us accustomed to Democratic leaders lasting a really long time. Mitch McConnell, the longest-serving Republican leader ever in the Senate, but it is an open question at this time whether McCarthy is able to hold on to his gavel for a long time. He has such a narrow majority, and he had to make so many compromises to get the job.
Washington Post reporting that Marty Walsh, the labor secretary, is the designated survivor. So, even though he may not be long for this job, he is the one sitting out this night. Washington Post team will be live after the speech, so stay with us. We'll also have the Republican response.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
This stream is in conjunction partly with the pre-stream.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor to present to you the President of the United States.
Mr. Speaker. Thank you. You can smile. It's okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Please. Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice President, our First Lady and Second Gentleman, good to see you guys up there. Members of Congress. By the way, Chief Justice, I may need a court order. She gets to go to the game tomorrow, next week. I have to stay home. Got to work something out here. Members of the Cabinet, leaders of our military, Chief Justice, Associate Justice, and retired Justice of the Supreme Court, and to you, my fellow Americans. You know, I start tonight by congratulating the 118th Congress and the new Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. Speaker, I don't want to ruin your reputation, but I look forward to working with you. And I want to congratulate the new leader of the House Democrats, the first African-American minority leader in history, Hakeem Jeffries.
Oh, that's right.
He won in spite of the fact I campaigned for him. Congratulations to the longest serving leader in the history of the United States Senate, Mitch McConnell. Where are you, Mitch? And congratulations to Chuck Schumer, another, another term as Senate Minority Leader. I think you. Only this time you have a slightly bigger majority, Mr. Leader. You're in a majority leader. About that much bigger? Yeah. Well, I tell you what. I want to give special recognition to someone who I think is going to be considered the greatest speaker in the history of the House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
Folks, the story of America is a story of progress and resilience, of always moving forward, of never, ever giving up. It's a story unique among all nations. We're the only country that has emerged from every crisis we've ever entered stronger than we got into it. Look, folks, that's what we're doing again. 2 years ago, the economy was reeling. I stand here tonight after we've created, with the help of many people in this room, 12 million new jobs. More jobs created in 2 years than any president's created in 4 years because of you all, because of the American people.
What about the jobs that were lost?
2 years ago,
They didn't make new jobs, just replace the ones replace the
2
ones
years
that were
ago,
lost.
COVID had shut down. Our businesses were closed. Our schools were robbed of so much. And today, COVID no longer controls our lives. 2 years ago, democracy faced its greatest threats in the Civil War. And today, though bruised, our democracy remains unbowed and unbroken. As we gather here tonight, we're writing the next chapter in the great American story, a story of progress and resilience. When world leaders ask me to define America, and they do, believe it or not, I can define it in one word, and I mean this: possibilities. We don't think anything is beyond our capacity. Everything is a possibility. You know, we're often told that Democrats and Republicans can't work together. But over the past 2 years, we've proved the cynics and naysayers wrong. Yes, we disagreed plenty. And yes, there were times when Democrats went alone. But time and again, Democrats and Republicans came together to defend a stronger and safer Europe. It came together to pass once in a generation infrastructure law, building bridges connecting our nation and our people. We came together to pass the most significant law ever, helping victims exposed to toxic burn pits. And in fact, it's important. And in fact, I signed over 300 bipartisan pieces of legislation since becoming president. From reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act, the Electoral Count Reform Act, the Respect for Marriage Act that protects the right to marry the person you love. And to my Republican friends, if we could work together the last Congress, there's no reason we can't work together and find consensus on important things in this Congress as well. I think folks, you all are as informed as I am, but I think the people sent us a clear message. Fighting for the sake of fighting, power for the sake of power, conflict for the sake of conflict gets us nowhere. That's always been my vision of our country, and I know it's many of yours. To restore the soul of this nation, to rebuild the backbone of America. America's
but
once thriving cities and towns that many of you represent became shadows of what they used to be. And along the way, something else we lost: pride, our sense of self-worth. I ran for president to fundamentally change things, to make sure our economy works for everyone, so we can all feel that pride in what we do. To build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not from the top down. Because when the middle class does well, the poor have a ladder up, and the wealthy still do very well. We all do well. I know a lot of you always kid me for always quoting my dad, but my dad used to say, Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. He really would say this. It's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it. Well, folks, so let's look at the results. We're not finished yet by any stretch of the imagination, but unemployment rate is at 3.4%, a 50-year low. A near record unemployment.
Low.
Near record unemployment for black.
Harrow.
Yeah.
We've already created, your help, 800,000 good-paying manufacturing jobs, the fastest growth in 40 years.
You're not making it easier on us.
And where is it written? Where is it written that America can't lead the world in manufacturing? And I don't know where that's written. For too many decades, we imported projects and exported jobs. Now, thanks to what you've all done, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs. Folks, inflation has been a global problem because the pandemic disrupted our supply chains, and Putin's unfair and brutal war in Ukraine disrupted energy supplies as well as food supplies.
And you're
blocking all that
willing to
grain
get
in
rid of
Ukraine.
all of our.
But we're better positioned than any country on earth right now. But we have more to do.
our
But here at home,
military,
inflation is coming down.
our
Here at
oil.
home, gas prices are down $1.50 from their peak. Food inflation is coming down, not fast enough, but coming down. Inflation has fallen every month for the last 6 months, while take-home pay has gone up. Additionally, over the last 2 years, a record
His biggest supporter,
1 million
Cardi B, would
Americans
disagree with him.
applied to start new businesses. 10 million. And by the way, every time someone starts a small business is an act of hope. And Madam Vice President, I want to thank you for leading that effort to ensure that small businesses have access to capital and the historic laws we enacted that are going to just come into being. Standing here last year, I shared with you a story of American genius and possibilities. Semiconductors, small computer chips the size of a fingerprint that power everything from cell phones to automobiles and so much more. These chips were invented in America. Let's get that straight. They were invented in America. We used to make 40% of the world's chips. In the last several decades, we lost our edge. We're down to only producing 10%. We all saw what happened during the pandemic when chip factories shut down overseas. Today's automobiles
And
need
who was that,
3,000
Joe?
chips each
Yep.
of those automobiles. But American automobiles couldn't make enough cars because there weren't enough chips. Car prices went up. People got laid off. So did everything from refrigerators to cell phones.
I
We can
remember
never
cars
let that
being made
happen
without
again.
chips.
That's why we came together to pass the Bipartisan Chips and Science Act.
Is this going to be like the STEM deal?
Huh?
I said, is his little deal of chips
I know I've been
and
criticized for saying
STEM
this, but I'm not
Act,
changing my view.
is it going to
We're
be
gonna
like
make
the
sure
STEM
supply chain
Act
for America
for all the
I
women
have
begins in
that never
America.
is never
The
used?
supply chain begins in
I have
America.
no clue.
We've already
It all
created-
sounds like good soundbite to get people to.
It kind
We've
of all
already
sounds like a
created-
Ponzi scheme, doesn't it?
800,000 new manufacturing jobs without this law, before the law kicks in.
Basically, they are plotting
With this
the fact
new law,
that
we're
he-
going to create hundreds of thousands
so
of new jobs
coherent,
across the
so wrong.
country. I mean, all across the country, throughout not just the coast, but through the middle of the country as well. That's going to come from companies that have announced more than $300 billion in investment in American manufacturing over the next few years.
And how much did they
Outside of
get a
Columbus,
tax break,
Ohio,
you stupid
Intel is
idiot?
building semiconductor factories
Yeah.
on 1,000
How are
acres.
you going to pay for this?
Literally
all
a
this?
field of
You have
dreams.
to pay
It's going
for
to create
taxes.
10,000 jobs, that one
Can't cut
investment.
taxes and
7,000 construction
create
jobs.
money for
3,000 jobs
taxes.
in those factories once they're
You
finished.
can't do
They
that.
call them factories. Jobs paying an
Oh no,
average
the
of
joke is this is the one that they're
$130,000
building
a
in
year,
Arizona.
and many
It's
do not
going to be
require a
profitable
college
for that
degree.
business for the next 10 years because they got tax breaks. They don't have to pay taxes on anything they produce in that
Jobs,
for 10 years.
because we work together, these jobs where people don't have to leave home to search for
Let's see about-
opportunity. It's just getting started. Think about the new homes, the small businesses, the medium-sized businesses. So much more that's going to be needed to support those 3,000 permanent jobs and the factories that are going to be built. Talk to mayors and governors, Democrats and Republicans, and they'll tell you what this means for their communities. We're seeing these field of dreams transform into the heartland.
What's
But
up?
to maintain the strongest economy in the
much.
world, we need
How much
the
of a
best
nightmare has this been?
infrastructure in the world.
Um,
And folks,
not so bad yet, but he's talking a lot of like,
as you all know,
we're going to do this, and we've done this, and
We used to be number one.
Well, we
in the
haven't
world
seen
in
Dart
infrastructure.
Biden again.
We've sunk to
He needs to
13th
have
in
the red
world.
lights
The
everywhere.
United States of America, 13th in the world in infrastructure, modern infrastructure. But now we're coming back because we came together and passed the bipartisan infrastructure law, the largest investment in infrastructure since President Eisenhower's interstate highway system. And folks, already we've funded over 20,000 projects, including major airports from Boston
How
to
are we
Atlanta
funding
to
it,
Portland.
Joe?
Projects that are going to put thousands of people to work rebuilding our
It's that
highways,
made
our
up money,
bridges,
baby.
our railroads, our tunnels, ports, airports, clean
The
water.
pretty machine
high-speed
goes
internet, all across
brrrr.
America. Urban, rural, tribal.
Yep.
And folks, we're just getting started. We're just getting started.
I don't think they
And I mean
understand where
sincerely.
inflation is coming from.
I want
Comes
to
from.
thank my Republican friends who voted for the law, and my Republican friends who voted against it as well. But I still get asked to fund the projects in those districts as well. But don't worry, I promised I'd be a president for all Americans. We'll fund these projects, and I'll see you at the groundbreaking.
What the fuck is he even talking about?
Look, this law will further unite all of America. Projects like Brent Spence Bridge in Kentucky over the Ohio River, built 60 years ago, badly needed repairs, one of the nation's most congested freight routes, carrying $2 billion worth of freight every single day across the Ohio River. And folks, we've been talking about fixing it for decades, but we're really finally going to get it done.
They've been
I
saying
went
that
there
about the
last
Brooklyn
month
Bridge
with Democrats
too.
and Republicans, and from both states, to deliver a commitment of $1.6 billion for this project.
You've been talking about fixing.
And while I was there, I met a young woman named Sarah, who's here tonight. I don't know where Sarah is. Is she up in the box? I don't know. Sarah, how are you? Well, Sarah, for 30 years, I learned, she told me she'd been a proud member of the Iron Workers Local 44, known as the Cowboys in the Sky.
She's got them iron working hands.
The folks
You got that iron working face.
skyline.
Yeah.
Sarah said she can't wait to be 10 stories above the Ohio River building that new bridge.
Tim,
God
I'm gonna
bless
send you
her.
something.
That's
Fuck,
pride.
please don't.
And that's what we're also building. We're building back pride. Look, we're also replacing poisonous lead pipes that go into 10 million homes in America, 400,000 school and child care centers. So every child in America can drink the water instead of having permanent damage to their brain. Look, we're making sure.
Hey, it's getting off the year.
We're making sure that every community in America has access to affordable high-speed internet. No parent should have to drive by McDonald's parking lot to help them do their homework online with their kids, which thousands were doing across the country. And when we do these projects,
Maybe homework
and
shouldn't
again, I
be
get
required to be
criticized for
online.
this, but I make no excuses for it. We're going to buy American. We're going to buy America. Folks,
I doubt it.
I'd love to buy it more, but it's still
it's
I want
totally
to buy.
consistent with international trade rules. Buy America has been the law since 1933, but for too long, past administrations, Democrat and Republican, have fought to get around it. Not anymore.
I want to buy it.
Tonight, I'm announcing new standards that require all construction materials used in federal infrastructure projects to be made in America.
Well, I like that.
Made in
Probably
America.
bullshit, but I like it.
I mean it. Lumber, glass, drywall, fiber optic cable. And on my watch, American roads, bridges, and American highways are going to be made with American products as well. Folks, my economic plan is about investing in places and people that have been forgotten. So many of you listening to me tonight, I know you feel it. So many of you felt like you've just simply been forgotten. Amid the economic upheaval of the past 4 decades, too many people have been left behind and treated like they're invisible. Maybe that's you watching from home. Remember the jobs that went away. You remember them, don't you? The folks at home remember them.
Yeah.
You wonder whether the path even
Got rid
exists
of them,
anymore
yeah.
for your children to get ahead without having to move away. Well, that's why I get that. That's why we're building an economy where no one's left behind. Jobs are coming back. Pride is coming back because choices we made in the last several years. You know, this is, in my view, a blue-collar blueprint to rebuild America, make a real difference in your lives at home. For example, too many of you lay in bed at night like my dad did, staring at the ceiling, wondering what in God's names happens if your spouse gets cancer, or your child gets deadly ill, or something happens to you. What are you going to get money to pay for those medical bills? Or are you going to have to sell the house or try to get a second mortgage on it? I get it. I get it.
No, you don't. You
The
never
Inflation
have.
Reduction Act that I signed into law.
Well, no,
taking
Hunter's
on
paying him
powerful interests to
$50,000
bring
for
healthcare
rent
costs down
a month.
so you can sleep better at night with more security. You know, we pay more for prescription drugs than any nation in the world. Let me say it again. We pay more for prescription drugs than any major nation on earth.
Wonder
For
why.
example, 1 in 10 Americans has diabetes. Many of you in this chamber do,
Diabetes.
and in the audience. But every day, millions need insulin to control their diabetes so they can
Is it
literally
because
stay
they're
alive.
fat, lazy, and they don't
Insulin's been
ever
around
work
for
out?
over 100 years. The guy who invented it didn't even patent it because he wanted it to be available for everyone. It cost the drug companies roughly $10 a vial to make that insulin. Packaging and all, you may get up to $13. But Big Pharma has been unfairly charging people hundreds of dollars,
Don't you
$400 to $500 a month,
going after big
making
pharma.
record profits. Not anymore.
How much was the record profit with that Fauci out, you stupid moron?
The whole you must have this medication and these.
So many things
Or else
that
you
we
can't
did
work and shit like
are only
that.
now coming to fruition. We said we were doing this, and we said we passed the law to do it, but people didn't know because the law didn't take effect until January 1 of this year. We capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors on Medicare.
Like the first thing he did was revoke Trump's
People are just
insulin
finding
cap
out.
price, and it fucking skyrocketed.
I'm
It was
sure
like
you're
one of the
getting same
first
calls
things he
I'm
fucking
getting.
did.
Yeah.
Well, he got
Look,
rid. He
there are millions
he,
of other Americans
he
They
signed
capped it at a
everything.
higher
that
rate.
are not on Medicare,
At-
including 200,000 young
Well,
people.
duh, he's
with
in it
type
with.
1 diabetes
Oh,
using
God.
insulin to stay
He
alive.
can't be serious,
Let's
can
finish the
he?
job this time.
Oh, yeah.
Let's cap the cost of insulin for everybody at $35.
But his event that he's putting on for $9, he's gonna go in maskless.
Folks, the Big Pharma's still going to do very well, I promise y'all. I promise you they're going to do very well. This law also caps and won't even go into effect until 2025. Costs, out-of-pocket drug costs for seniors on Medicare at a maximum of $2,000 a year. You don't have to pay more than $2,000 a year, no matter how much your drug costs are. Because you know why? You all know it. Many of you, like many in my family, have cancer. You know the drugs can range from $10, $11, $14, $15,000 for the cancer drugs. If drug prices rise faster than inflation, drug companies are going to have to pay Medicare back the difference. We're finally giving Medicare the power to negotiate drug prices. Bringing down.
Yeah, we know how
prescription
much
drug
they're gonna
costs doesn't just
negotiate.
save
Okay,
seniors
that's
money.
their price. We'll pay this
cuts
amount.
the federal
How much are we getting in
deficit
kickback?
by billions of dollars. by hundreds of billions of dollars. Because these
Because you know it's not going to be
prescription
government employees that are arguing; it's going to be contractors.
by Medicare to keep their commitment to the seniors. Well, guess what? Instead of paying $400 or $500 a month, you're paying $15. That's a lot of savings for the federal government. And by the way, why wouldn't we want that? Now, some members here are threatening, and I know it's not an official party position, so I'm not going to exaggerate, but threatening to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act. As my coach, that's okay. That's fair. As my football coach used to say, lots of luck in your senior year. Make no mistake. If you try anything to raise the cost of producing jobs, I will veto it.
How much fucking juice is he on right now?
Look,
I'll bet you 10 to 1 he did a line before he got on.
I'm pleased to say, the more Americans
Dude,
have
like
homes,
10.
richer now than ever in history. A record 16 million people
control over
enrolled in the
what
Affordable
shots
Care
they
Act. And thanks
As in camera
to
shot.
the law I signed last year, saving millions are saving $800 a year on their premiums. And by the way, that law was written
Yep.
and the benefit expires in 2025. So my plea to some of you, at least in this audience, let's finish the job and make these savings permanent. Expand coverage of Medicaid.
You might want to turn up the strain, Dave. Just a teeny bit.
Look, the Inflation Reduction Act is also the most significant investment ever in climate change. Ever. Lowering utility bills, creating American jobs, leading the world to a clean energy future. I visited the devastating aftermath of record floods, droughts, storms, and wildfires from Arizona to Mexico to all the way up to the Canadian border.
On my end.
More timber has been burned, that I've observed from helicopters, than the entire state of Missouri. And we don't have global warming? Not a problem. In addition to emergency recovery from Puerto Rico
I think we
to
have more of
Florida
a
to Idaho,
global
we're
cooling
rebuilding for the
problem than
long term.
anything.
New electric grids that are able to weather major storms and not prevent those forest fires.
Yeah, the
Roads and
grids.
water systems will stand the next big flood. Clean energy to cut pollution and create jobs in communities often left behind.
Where does the energy come from,
We're going to
Joe?
build 500,000
From other
electric
countries,
vehicle
we
charging
ship-
stations
we
installed
ship
across the country
our
by
fuel
tens
over
of
there.
thousands of IBW workers.
I know.
And we're helping families save more than $1,000 a year with tax credits to purchase electric vehicles and efficient appliances.
Romney's such a
energy-efficient
smug little
appliances.
bastard, isn't he?
Historic conservation efforts to be responsible
Yeah.
stewards of our land. Let's
That's
face reality.
McCarthy up there on the right.
The climate crisis doesn't care if you're in a red
Right.
or blue state.
Yeah, but they just
It's an existential
showed
threat.
Romney
No,
a
no,
second ago.
I get it. I was
We have
just
an
making
obligation,
sure.
not to ourselves, but to our children and
Yeah, that's
grandchildren. to
McCarthy
confront
and
it.
Harris.
I'm proud of how
Oh.
America at last is stepping up
He's
to the
keeping a
challenge.
good eye on her.
We're still going to need oil and gas for a while, but guess what? No, we're good.
Yeah, for like another 100
But
years.
there's so
Do you think
much more to
she's
do.
got her knee pads on for
We gotta finish
afterwards?
the job. We paid for these
She
investments
could have
so
wore
our
something a little bit
children are
more low
finally
cut.
making the wealthiest and biggest corporations
I think she's the type to always wear her
begin to
knee
pay their fair
pads
share.
underneath her
Just begin.
dress. You never take them off.
Look, I'm a capitalist. I'm a capitalist. You pay your fair share. I think a lot of you at home agree with me and many people that you know. The tax system is not fair. It is not
Yeah.
fair.
For us.
Get rid of it.
Look,
Then how much do you pay in taxes, Joe?
the idea that in 2020, 55 of the largest corporations in America, the Fortune 500, made $40 billion in profits and paid zero in federal taxes? Zero? Folks, it's simply not fair. But now, because of the law I signed, billion-dollar companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. God love them.
50?
15%.
Are you fucking high?
That's less than a nurse
See ya,
pays.
companies.
crystal clear. I said at the very beginning, under my plans, as long as I'm president, nobody
Push him right
earning
to
less
China.
than $400,000 will pay an additional penny in taxes. Nobody, not one penny.
That's cool.
But let's finish the job. There's more to do.
How are we getting those?
We have
that
to
money
reward work,
from
not
road,
just wealth.
Joe?
Pass my proposal for the billionaire minimum tax. You know, there's
You know what's
1,000
gonna happen,
billionaires in
right?
America. It's up from about 600
I can't wait
in the
until the rest of the
beginning.
billionaires leave.
But no billionaire should be paying a lower tax rate than a school teacher or firefighter. I mean it. Think about it. I mean, look. I know you aren't enthusiastic about that, but think about it. Think about it. Have you noticed Big Oil just reported its profits, record profits? Last year they made $200 billion in the midst of a global energy crisis. I think it's outrageous. Why? They invested too little of that profit to increase domestic production. And when I talk to a couple of them, they say, we're afraid you're going to shut down all the oil wells, all the oil refineries anyway, so why should we invest in them? I said, we're going to need oil for at least another decade.
Mm.
And that's
You
going to
shut down all the fucking fracking.
And beyond that, we're going to need it. Production. If they had, in fact, invested in the production to keep gas prices down, instead, they used the record profits to buy back their own stock.
They had
Wanting the
to.
CEOs and
Cut off their
shareholders.
pipeline.
Corporations ought to do the right thing. That's why I propose we
first thing you
quadruple
did
the tax on
when you
corporate
lost.
stock buybacks and encourage long-term investments.
You fucking
They'll still
what?
make considerable profit. Let's finish
Fred
the
just
job and
tweeted,
close the loophole
something
to
at
allow
me.
very wealthy to avoid
It
paying
was,
their taxes. Instead of cutting
and,
the number of audits for wealthy taxpayers,
and who,
I just signed a law to reduce
sabotaged
the
the
deficit
pipe.
by $114 billion by cracking down on wealthy tax cheats. That's being fiscally responsible. In the last 2 years,
This flippin' moron doesn't know what he's he's clapping his hands for.
Oh, he's got to run. He's going to clap his hands and shake his head.
my administration has cut the deficit by more than $1.7 trillion.
What?
The largest deficit reduction in American history. Under the previous administration, the American deficit went up 4 years in a row. Because those record deficits, no president added more to the national debt in any 4 years than my predecessor. Nearly 25% of the entire national debt that took over 200 years to accumulate was added by just one administration alone, the last one. They're the facts. Check it out.
Bleak if you're held against your will.
Check it out. How did Congress respond to that debt? They did the right thing. They lifted the debt ceiling 3 times without preconditions or crisis. They paid American bills to prevent an economic disaster in the country. So tonight I'm asking the Congress to follow suit. Let's commit here tonight to the full faith and credit of the United States of America will never, ever be questioned. So some of my Republican friends want to take the economy hostage. I get it, unless I agree to their economic plans. All of you at home should know what those plans are. Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority.
Like one.
Let me give you anybody who
Although,
wants
fuck it, by the way.
Contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see you. No, I tell you, I enjoy conversion.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene should really be quiet
it means
because
if
she fucking wanted
Congress
to
doesn't
go
keep
with
the programs the way they are, they'd go away. Other
a
Republicans
moron
say,
because
I'm not saying it's a majority of you.
he's a
I
good
don't even
friend.
think it's even a significant,
Bullshit. There's no fucking friends there.
but it's being proposed by individuals. I'm not politely not naming them, but it's being proposed by some of you.
Well, I hope they get him riled up and he goes off script
Folks,
because he's so easy to do that with.
The idea is that we're not going to be moved into being threatened to default on the debt if we don't respond.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, as we all apparently agree,
I wish
Social
McCarthy would
Security
hold up a
Medicare
sign
is
that says
off
he's
the books.
fucking lying.
We're not gonna do that. All right. I'm ready.
Every time he says something that's a lie, just like false.
If he did do that, I would be laughing. I would have
Social
more
Medicare,
respect for
lifeline
him.
for
Oh, fuck yeah.
millions of
I'd have
Americans
actual
have to pay
respect
into
for him
them
instead
from
of
the
just a
very first paycheck
disgusting
they start.
politician.
So tonight,
It should say
let's
fact
all
check
agree.
the
We
found.
apparently are.
found
Let's
it
stand up for
all.
seniors.
Yep.
How I call him is
Stand up and show
the
them.
male version of Nancy
We will
Pelosi.
not cut Social Security. We will not cut Medicare. Those benefits belong to the American people. They earned it. And if anyone tries to cut Social Security, which apparently no one's going to do,
How you doing there,
if anyone
Patriot?
tries to cut Medicare, I'll stop them. I'll veto it. And look, I'm not going to allow them to be taken away. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. But apparently it's not going to be a problem. Next month, when I offer my fiscal plan, I ask my Republican friends to lay down their plan as well. I really mean it. Let's sit down together and discuss our mutual plans together. Let's do that. I can tell you, the plan I'm going to show you is going to cut the deficit by another $2 trillion. And it won't cut a single bit of Medicare or Social Security. In fact, we're going to extend the Medicare Trust Fund at least 2 decades, because that's going to be the next argument. How do we keep it solvent, right? Well, we'll not raise tax on anyone making under 400 grand, but we'll pay for it the way we talked about tonight, by making sure that the wealthy and big corporations pay their fair share. Look,
How about you do it to
look,
200,000?
Here's the deal. They aren't just taking advantage of the tax code. They're taking advantage of you, the American consumer. Here's my message to all of you out there. I have your back. We're already preventing Americans from receiving surprise medical bills, stopping $1 billion surprise bills per month so far. We're protecting seniors' life savings by cracking down on nursing homes that commit fraud, endanger patient safety, prescribe drugs that are not needed. Millions of Americans can now save thousands of dollars because they can finally get a hearing aid over the counter without a prescription. Look, capitalism without competition is not capitalism. It's extortion. It's exploitation. Last year, I cracked down with the help of many of you on foreign shipping companies that were making you pay higher prices for every good coming into the country. I signed a bipartisan bill to cut shipping costs by 90%, helping American farmers, businessmen, and consumers. Let's finish the job. Pass the bipartisan legislation to strengthen antitrust enforcement and prevent big online platforms giving their own products an unfair advantage. My administration is also taking on junk fees, those hidden surcharges too many companies use to make you pay more. For example, we're making airlines show you the full ticket price up front, refund your money if your flight is canceled or delayed. We reduced exorbitant bank overdrafts by saving consumers more than $1 billion a year. We're cutting credit card late fees by 75%, from $30 to $8. Look, junk fees may not matter to the very wealthy, but they matter to most other folks in homes like the one I grew up in, like many of you did.
Right.
They add up to hundreds
Yeah,
of dollars a
back
month.
when they had bank fees
They
when
make
he
it
was
harder
fucking
for you to pay your
102
bills
years
or
ago.
afford
Oh
family
my
trip.
God!
I know how unfair it feels when a company
Why did I have
overcharges you and
to
gets away
check?
with it. Not anymore. We've written a bill to stop it all. It's called the Junk Fee Prevention Act. We're going to ban surprise resort fees that hotels charge on your bill. Those fees can cost up to $90 a night at hotels that aren't even
You guys see
resorts.
everything on this browser.
The idea that cable, internet, and cell phone companies can charge you $200 or more
Good
if
thing
you
that
decide to
wasn't
switch to another
a,
provider. Give me a break. We can stop service fees on tickets to concerts and sporting events and make companies disclose all the fees up front. And we'll prohibit airlines from charging $50 round trip for family just to be able to sit together. Baggage fees are bad enough. Airlines can't treat your child like a piece of baggage.
When is he going to call out
Americans are tired of being. We're tired of being played for suckers.
a couple of politicians that are doing their book tours and it's $100 plus fees?
Pass the Junk Fee Prevention Act so
The
companies
exorbitant
stop ripping us
speaking
off.
fees, they're going to be next
For
on
too
his hit
long,
list.
workers have been getting
Oh no,
stiffed.
Bernie Sanders,
not
their
anymore.
ticket
We're
for his
beginning to
event
restore
is
the dignity of work.
buying the
For
book,
example,
but the fee to see
I should have
him
known this, but I didn't
is $90.
until 2 years ago.
Don't hear it
30
live.
million workers have to sign non-compete agreements with the jobs they take. 30 million. So a cashier at a burger place can't walk across town and take the same job at another burger place and make a few bucks more. It just changed. But they just changed it because we exposed it. That was part of the deal, guys. Look it up. But not anymore. We're banning those agreements so companies have to compete for workers and pay them what they're worth. And I must tell you, this is bound to get a response from my friends on my left but the right. I'm so sick and tired of companies
What a joke.
breaking the law by
Fuck.
preventing workers from organizing. Pass the PRO Act because business have a right. Workers have a right to form a union. And let's guarantee all workers have a living wage. Let's make sure working parents can afford to raise a family with sick
What was
days,
the union that the
paid
United States
family
came
medical
in and
leave,
shut down
affordable child care.
recently in the tech world?
That's
I
going
can't
to
remember.
enable millions of more
I
people
vaguely
to
remember
go
what
and
you're
stay
talking
at
about, but I
work.
can't
And let's
remember exactly
restore
what it
the
was.
full child tax credit, which gave tens of millions of parents some breathing room and cut child poverty in half to the lowest level in history. And by the way, when we do all these things, we increase productivity, we increase economic growth. So let's finish the job and get more families access to affordable quality housing. Let's get seniors who want to stay in their homes the care they need to do so. Let's give more breathing room to millions of family caregivers looking after their loved ones. Pass my plan so we get seniors and people with disabilities the home care and services they need. And support the workers who are doing God's work. These plans are fully paid for and we can afford to do them. Restoring the dignity of work means
How
making
can we afford all
education
this
an affordable
without
ticket
raising
to the middle
taxes? What are
class.
we cutting?
You know, when we made
nothing, we
public
just make money
education 12
He's
years of it
expecting
universal
the rich
in the last
above
century,
400,000.
we made the best educated,
like
best
30,
paid, we became the
40%
best educated, best paid nation in the world. But the rest of the world's caught up. It's caught up. Jill, my wife, who teaches full time.
What about Africa?
Any
Anyone
nation
else?
that
I really shouldn't
educates
laugh
us
over
is going
that.
to outcompete us. Any nation out educates going to outcompete us. Folks, we all know 12 years of education is not enough to win the economic competition of 21st century.
It works for them. What the
We
fuck
want
do
to
you
have
mean?
the best educated workforce. Let's finish the job.
Oh no, it's 8 years, but that's beside the point.
By
But
providing access to preschool
oh yeah, it
for
is.
3 and 4 years old.
All you
You're
have to do
schooling
in
them
Asia,
for
you have to
children to
just
go to
graduate
preschool,
secondary
nearly
school.
50% more likely to finish high school
Not
and
in
go
high
on to
school.
earn a 2 or 4 year degree, no matter their background they came from. Let's give public school teachers a raise.
Make them worth a shit. I'm like 2 classes away from a degree in
We're
fucking
making
education to
progress.
teach, and it's all gen ed bullshit.
By
You
reducing
can just be like,
student
oh yeah,
debt,
I'm a teacher.
increasing Pell Grants for working and middle-class families. Let's finish the job and connect
Just
students
don't
to career
ask what
opportunities
gender
starting
they
in high
are.
school. Provide access to 2 years of community
I'm
college.
loving Lurch over there
The
on the
best career
left.
training in America, in addition to being a pathway to a 4-year degree.
Please don't remind me.
Let's offer every American a path to a good career, whether they go to college or not. And folks,
How about you have a law you can't
Folks, in the
discriminate
midst
against
of the COVID
Asians, you
crisis,
stupid.
when schools were
This
closed
is
Yeah.
this has been the longest, the most amount of
and we
time
were
she's
shutting down
up
everything,
off of her
let's
off her,
recognize how far we came in the fight
Knees?
against the pandemic
in a
itself.
while.
While
Usually,
the virus is now gone, thanks to the resilience of
See, the
the
problem
American
is that
people
chair doesn't
and
actually have a
ingenuity of
bottom. She's
medicine,
just on her knees right now.
we've broken the COVID grip on us. COVID deaths are down by 90%. We've saved millions of lives and opened up
If he brings up
our
a gas
we opened our
stove in
country
this,
back up.
I
And soon we'll end the
I'm gonna
public
have
health
bingo.
emergency. But that's called a public health emergency. But we'll remember the toll and pain is never going to go away. More than 1 million Americans lost their lives to COVID. 1 million. Families grieving, children orphaned, empty chairs at the dining room table constantly reminding you that she used to sit there. Remembering them, we remain vigilant. We still need to monitor dozens of variants and support new vaccines and treatments. So Congress needs to fund these efforts and keep America safe.
at
What the
least
fuck was he
And
talking
as
about?
we emerge from this crisis stronger, we're also got to double down on prosecuting criminals who stole relief money meant to keep workers and small businesses afloat. Before I came to office, you remember, during that campaign, the big issue was about inspector generals who would protect taxpayers' dollars who were sidelined. They were fired. Many people said, we don't need them. And fraud became rampant.
The fuck is he
year,
talking about?
I told you the watchdogs are back. Since then, we've recovered billions of taxpayers' dollars. Now let's
Billions.
triple the anti-fraud strike force going after these criminals, double the
How many
statute of
trillions have we
limitations
sent
on
to
these crimes,
Ukraine?
and crack down on identity fraud by criminal syndicates stealing billions of dollars from the American
I
people.
need a fact check on that. I don't know that they
And the
cracked down on that.
I think that he's
For
coming
every
up
dollar we put
with
into fighting fraud, the
big
taxpayers
show.
get back at least 10 times as much.
where the
It
money
matters.
has
It
gone.
matters. Look,
Yeah, maybe.
COVID left its scars, like the spike in violent crime in 2020.
Oh yeah,
First
yeah,
year
it's
of the
COVID.
pandemic. We have an obligation to make sure all people are safe. Public safety depends on public trust, as all of us know.
Wait a minute. Is this
Too often
all-
that trust is
this his
violated.
way of saying all lives matter?
Join us tonight are the parents of Tyree
I don't
Nichols.
think so. Sounds like it though. Don't make
Bury
jokes.
Tyree last
Just
week.
don't do it. Be quiet.
As many of you personally know, there's no words to describe the heartache or grief of losing a child. But imagine if you lost that child at the hands of the law. Imagine having to worry whether your son or daughter came home from walking down the street, playing in the park, or just driving a car.
Yeah, they don't.
Most of us in here have never had to have the talk that brown and black parents have had to have with their children. Bo, Hunter, Ashley, my children.
They aren't
I never had
listening.
to have the talk.
Just gonna say.
I never had to tell them if a police officer pulls you over, turn your interior lights on right away.
I actually have had this talk.
Don't reach
Has
for your
anyone else? Because yeah,
Keep your
I've
hands on
had
the
to
no
steering
sudden movements.
Imagine
My,
having
my
to worry
dad
like
had
that
to
every
have this
single
talk
time
with his
your kid got in the
oldest
car.
two. His oldest.
Here's what
never
Tyree's mother shared with me when I spoke to her. when I ask her how she finds the courage.
Yeah,
to
it was
carry
hands
to
on the
speak
steering
out.
wheel, turn your radio down, roll all the
Faith to
windows
God,
down.
she said
It's the
her
whole
son
fucking
was,
thing.
quote, a beautiful soul.
Don't
and
flash your
something good will come of this.
colors in front of a cop.
Put your penis away. It's very
Imagine how
important
much
stuff.
courage and clarity that takes. It's up to us, to all of us.
I
We all
never
want the
got
same
the
thing.
lesson of put your
Neighborhoods
penis
free of
away when the
violence.
cop pulls you over.
Law enforcement of the
Because why should we use
the
that?
community's trust.
Don't
Just
make
as every cop when they
jokes.
pin on that badge in
I'm
the
go-
morning has a right to
I'm
be able to
just
go
being
home
a
at
good
night,
boy.
so does everybody else out there. Our children have a right to come home safely. Equal protection under the law is a covenant we have with each other in America.
Yep, there's my equality.
We know police officers put their lives on the line every single night and day. And we know we ask them in many cases to do
Oh,
too
don't
much
lose
to be
them, Joe.
counselors, social workers, psychologists responding to drug overdoses, mental health crises, and so much more. In one sense, we ask much too much of them. I
Yes.
know most cops and their
Let's
families are
stick
good,
the
decent,
social workers
honorable
with the
people,
cops.
the vast majority. But they risk.
Do you think somebody's like holding a card for Kamala to stand up and clap somewhere in the balcony?
Wouldn't surprise me.
And they risk their lives
Or she
every time they put that
or
shield
she has
on.
a fucking what is it?
What happened to Tyree in Memphis happens too often.
Vibrating
do better.
anal plug that
Give
poker
law
player does.
enforcement the real
So every single
training
time
they
it
need.
buzzes, she has to stand.
Hold them to higher standards. Help them succeed in keeping us safe. We also need more first responders and professionals to address the growing mental health, substance abuse challenges. More resources, reduce violent crime and gun
Police do
crime.
not keep you
More
safe.
community intervention programs.
No,
veterans
neither do
housing,
social
education, and
workers.
job training.
Neither do psychiatrists
All
that are in
this
this.
can help prevent violence in the first place. When police officers or police departments violate the public
Good
trust,
upbringing does 10
they
times more
must
than any of
be
that
held
bullshit will ever
accountable.
do.
With the support
I know a psychiatrist that thinks people that are bipolar,
support-
that's part of the trans community.
of the families of victims,
It's like
civil rights groups and
psychology
law
in general
enforcement,
is just
I signed an
infested with.
executive order for all
It's
federal
not a
officers
solid enough science at
banning
this point.
chokeholds,
And it's ripe for
restricting
crazy
no-knock
fucking
warrants,
emotional people
and
to
other
take
key
advantage.
elements of the George
Like
Floyd
John
Act.
Money.
Let's commit ourselves to make the words of Tyler's mom true. Something good must come from this. Something good.
Well, y'all gonna get a bunch of money. I mean, it's not really
And all of us,
just to say.
And your family can commit crimes.
all of us.
Well, that guy apparently, I mean, as far as I know, didn't do anything, but it's not normally the case.
Folks, it's difficult, but it's simple. All of us in this chamber, we need to rise to this moment. We can't turn away. Let's do what we know in our hearts that we need to do. Let's come together to finish the job on police reform. Do something. Do something. That was the plea of parents who lost their children in Uvalde. I met with every one of them. Do
Oh.
something about gun violence.
Yeah, police, do
Thank
something.
God.
Do something,
Thank God
police.
we did. Passing the most sweeping gun safety law in 3 decades. That includes things like that the majority of responsible gun owners already support. Enhanced background checks for 18 to 21 years old. Red flag laws, keeping guns out of the hands of people who are a danger to themselves and others. But we know our work is not done. Join us tonight is Brandon Say, a 26-year-old hero. Brandon put his college dreams on hold to be at his mom's side. His mom's side when she was dying from cancer.
What? Who's this guy?
And Brandon,
Where did that come from?
Let's go, Brandon.
Dude, if he look how tiny his hands are. If he does a Let's Go Brandon, it would be hilarious.
started by his grandparents. And 2 weeks ago, during the Lunar New Year celebrations, he heard the studio door close. And he saw a man standing there pointing semi-automatic pistol at him. He thought he was going to die,
Ah,
but he thought about the people inside. And in that instant, he found the courage to act and wrestle the semi-automatic pistol away from the gunman who had already killed 11 people in another dance studio. 11. He saved lives.
are there any
It's time we do the
non-semi-automatic
same.
pistols?
Banned assault weapons.
Bolt-action
now.
pistol?
Ban them now.
The only one that I can think
It was a
of-
pistol, you goofy fuck.
The only one you have to worry about with a non-semi-auto pistol is Alec Baldwin.
Yeah. Well, no, that was a semi. That's well. Is it technically?
No, it's not.
Kinda.
Semi-auto.
After we let it
it was,
expire in the Republican
double-
administration.
I think it was
mass shootings
Double action.
tripled. Let's finish the
I think
job
it was
Yeah.
single act.
and ban these assault weapons. And let's also come together on immigration. Make it a bipartisan issue once again.
No.
We know we now have a record number of personnel
Look at
working
that.
to secure the border.
Mr. Burns,
Arresting
motherfucker over there.
8,000
I know,
US
dude.
smugglers,
That's good.
seizing
Fucking
over
all on show.
23,000 pounds of fentanyl in just the last several months. We've launched a new border plan last month. Unlawful migration from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela has come down 97% as a consequence of that. But American border
what?
problems won't be fixed until Congress acts. If we don't pass my
Jesus
comprehensive immigration
Christ.
reform, at least pass my plan to provide the equipment and officers to secure the border.
Are you fucking serious? Are you serious right now?
For dreamers,
Wow.
temporary status, farm workers, essential workers. Here in the People's House, it's our duty to protect all the people's rights and freedoms.
No.
Congress must restore
Only
the
American
right
people.
and the- Congress must restore the right that was taken away in Roe v. Wade and protect Roe v. Wade.
You can't.
Congress can't.
Give every woman a
You
constitutional
can't
right.
touch that.
The Vice President and I are doing
That was the
everything
whole point of the fucking
protect
ruling, you
access to
goofy
reproductive
fuckers.
health care and safe
Sorry, you're
occupation
gonna have to
safety.
wait until
But already more than a
a
dozen
few of
states are
the
enforcing extreme abortion
SCOTUS,
bans. Make no
uh,
mistake about it. If Congress passes a national ban, I will veto it. But let's also
You're not going to
pass-
pass the national ban. There's never an option.
let's
never
also
gonna
pass
happen
the
anyway.
Bipartisan Equality Act to ensure
You're crazy, there's always the option.
LGBTQ Americans, especially transgender young people, can live with safety and dignity.
we have
Our
equality.
strength,
Wow.
our strength is not just the example of our power, but the power of our example. Let's remember the world's watching. I spoke in this chamber 1 year
Equality.
ago,
They want
just days after Vladimir
for
Putin
equity.
unleashed his brutal attack
The
against
more and more I
Ukraine.
listen to him, the more I think
Murderous
that
assault,
Hunter's name for
booking images of death and
his dad
destruction
in his cell
Europe
phone
suffered in
is
World War II.
big
Putin's
problem.
the truth.
invasion has been a test
Yeah.
for the ages, test for America, test for the world. Would we stand for the most basic of principles? Would we stand for sovereignty? We stand for the right of people to live free of tyranny? Would we stand for the defense of
Apparently not here.
democracy? For such defense matters to us because it keeps peace and prevents open season on would-be aggressors and threatens our prosperity.
Do you think her knees are
1
getting
year later,
tired so
we
she's got
know
no
the
feet there?
answer.
No,
Yes,
no.
we would, and we did.
She's had a lot
We
of
did.
leg training. She never skipped a day.
And together,
All those
we
squats.
did what America always does at our best. We led. We united NATO. We built a global coalition. We stood against Putin's aggression. We stood with the Ukrainian people. Tonight, we're once again joined by Ukrainian's ambassador to the United States. She represents not just her nation, but the courage of her people. Our ambassador is here. United, we're united in our support of your country. Will you stand so we can all take a look at you?
All right.
Thank you.
All the men are off in the front, unfortunately.
Because we're going to stand with you.
So is he going to send
As
troops?
long as it takes.
Is that what he's saying?
No.
I ain't saying she's a gold fella.
Hey, we're sending them like 100
Our
Abrams
nation's
tanks,
working
but they
for more
won't be
freedom,
here,
more
be
dignity,
there
and
until
more
like the end
peace.
of the year.
Not just
So
in
you know
Europe, but
that'll be
everywhere.
useful.
Before I came to
Yeah, that's
office, the story
not
was
an
about
easy,
how the
transport.
People's Republic of China was increasing its power, and America was failing in the world. Not anymore.
Stop dealing with China
We
then.
made clear, and I made clear in my
Oh,
personal
they're,
conversations, which have been many, with President Xi, that we seek competition, not
Uh-oh.
conflict. But I will make no apologies that we're investing to make America stronger. Investing in American innovation and industries that will define the future that China intends to be dominating. Investing in our alliances and working with our allies to protect advanced technologies so they will not be used against us. Modernizing our military
ship sailed,
to
bro.
safeguard stability and deter aggression. Today, we're in the strongest position in decades to compete with China or anyone else in the world. Anyone else in the world. And
What
I'm
the
committed.
What the actual fuck is that? 2 decades ago, we were destroying them.
I'm committed
Wait,
to work with
was
China
that-
so we can
was
that
advance
the
American
military
interests
that
and
I
benefit
just
the
saw
world.
just
But
sitting
make
there
no
and
mistake
being
about
quiet?
it.
Yes.
As we made clear last week, if China threatens our sovereignty,
Semi-based
we will
American
act to protect
military.
our country, and we did.
Is that the military Jesus stuff?
Let's be clear. Winning the competition should unite all of us. We face serious challenges across the world. But in the past 2 years, democracies have become stronger, not weaker. Autocracies have grown weaker, not stronger. Name me a world leader who changed places with Xi Jinping. Name me one. Name me one.
Who did what?
America's rallying the world to meet those challenges, from climate to global health,
Trade,
food insecurity to terrorism,
Xi
to territorial
Jinping.
aggression. Allies are
I'm
stepping
pretty sure
up,
like
spending
the
more and doing more.
president of Guatemala would.
Look,
I
Yeah,
don't
he
understand
would.
that.
the bridges we're forming
Venezuela?
between partners in the Pacific and those in the
Oh yeah,
Atlantic.
definitely.
And those who bet against America are learning how wrong they are. It's never, ever been a good bet to bet against America. Never.
I think China does every single day.
Well, when I came to office, most assured that bipartisanship assumed was impossible, but never believed it. That's why a year ago, I offered a unity agenda to the nation as I stood here. We made real progress together. We passed a law making it easy for doctors to prescribe effective treatments for opioid addiction. We passed the gun safety law, making historic investments in mental health. We launched the ARPA-H drive for breakthrough in the fights against cancer, Alzheimer's, and diabetes, and so much more.
How does
We
passing
passed
laws on
the Heath Robinson
Gun-
PACT Act,
Oh.
named
I
after the late
love-
Iraq War veteran whose story
I
about
love our
exposure to
Speaker of the
toxic
House
burn
right now.
pits
Him
I
just
shared
rolling his
here
eyes,
last
just
year.
this look is hilarious to me.
I understand something about those burn pits, but there's so much more to do. We can do it together. Joining us tonight is a father named Doug from Newton, New Hampshire. He wrote Jill, my wife, a letter, and me as well,
Why?
about his courageous daughter, Courtney. A contagious laugh, his sister's best friend, her sister's best friend. He shared the story all too familiar to millions of Americans and many of you in the audience. Courtney discovered pills in high school. It spiraled into addiction and eventually death from a fentanyl overdose.
How
She's
did
just
she
20 years
discover
old.
prescriptions?
Describing the last 8 years without her, Doug said, "There's no worse pain." Yet their family has turned pain to purpose, working to end the stigma and change laws.
Yep,
He
give him
told
the
us
free
he
needles.
wants to start a journey toward American recovery.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Doug, we're
what.
with you. Fentanyl is killing more than 70,000 Americans a year. Big, you got it. So let's launch a major surge to stop fentanyl production and the sale and trafficking with more drug detection machines, inspection cargo, stop pills and powder.
That's
at the
not
border.
how it gets here, you goofy fucker.
Very
He knows. He knows well
Working with
enough.
couriers like FedEx.
Well, he should know.
and special packages
His
for drugs.
his son
Strong
has a
penalty
lot
to
of it.
crack down on fentanyl trafficking. Second, let's do more on mental health, especially for our children. When millions of young people are struggling with bullying, violence, trauma, we owe them greater access to mental health care at their schools. We must finally hold social media companies accountable for experimenting they're doing running children for profit. It's time to pass bipartisan legislation
That's the
to
right
stop
of
big tech from
Yeah, right,
collecting
sure.
personal data on our kids and teenagers online.
I mean, they're not gonna, but sure.
Ban targeted advertising of children and impose stricter limits on the personal data that companies collect on all of us.
Make harsh
Third,
punishment.
let's do more to keep this nation's
How about you
truly
prosecute? How
sacred
about we
obligation
prosecute
to equip
the
those
flipping
who send
people
them
that
harm's
lie
way
and
and care
bully
for
the
them and their
shit on
families when
social
they come
media?
home.
Oh wait, we can't.
Job training,
Well,
job placement for
let's
veterans
start,
and their spouses as
you know,
they come
prosecuting
return to
people who
civilian life.
traffic
Helping
people, you
veterans
know, kind of like
afford their rent,
your
because
son
no
there.
one should be homeless in America, especially
Biden.
someone who
Mm.
served the
Well,
country.
you
Oh,
have
Lurch.
to.
There's
What's your
Lurch, my man
definition?
Lurch.
What's your definition of trafficking? Is it just sharing a photo?
No, his son was heavy.
Dennis McDuncan. Dennis
It was
McDuncan's
Eliza
here,
Blue
the
Joe.
DA.
Yeah, I know.
We had a first real discussion when I asked him to take the job. I'm glad he did. We were losing up to 25 veterans a day on suicide. Now we're losing 17 a day to the silent
wow.
scourge of suicide. 17 veterans a day are committing suicide.
And why can't they
More
get
than
help,
all
Joe?
the people being killed in the wars.
Go back like
Folks,
6 years and how many were committing
VA is
suicide?
doing everything
I
it
bet it's
can,
gone down every
including
year.
expanding mental health screening, proven programs that recruits veterans to help other veterans understand what they're going through, get them the help they need.
Fuck you, Biden.
We got to do more.
Shit.
And fourth, last year, Jill and I reignited the cancer moonshot that I was able to start with President Obama asked me to lead our administration on this issue. Our goal is to cut the cancer death rates at least by 50% in the next 25 years. Turn more cancers from death sentences to treatable diseases. Provide more support for patients and their families. It's personal to so many of us in this audience. Joining us are Morris and Candice, an Irishman and the daughter of immigrants from Panama. They met and fell in love in New York City and got married in the same chapel Jill and I got married in New York City. Kindred spirits. He wrote us a letter about his little daughter, Ava, and I saw her just before I came over. She was just a year old when she was diagnosed with rare kidney disease, cancer. After 26 blood transfusions, 11 rounds of radiation, 8 rounds of chemo, 1 kidney removed,
Yeah, bit
even a
of chemo.
5% survival rate. He wrote how in the darkest moments he thought, if she goes,
Got
I
to
can't
collect the
stay.
lottery ticket somehow.
Many of you have been through that as well. Jillian, I understand that.
I
like
so
many
hate
of
this
you.
emotional shit. I don't care
He
who's up
read
there. I
Jill's book
fucking hate
describing
it.
our family's cancer journey and how we tried
Politics.
to steal moments of joy
Don't be a
where
bigot.
we could with book.
This is what I talk about.
For them, that glimmer of joy was the half
You know,
smile of the baby girl.
Grandstanding on how much they're
It meant everything to them.
for charity
Yeah.
and helping
They
the
never gave up hope.
It's
Little Ava never
it's
gave up hope.
virtue signaling.
She turns 4 next month.
it's
They just found out Ava's beating the odds, is on her way to being cured of cancer.
Yeah, and
She's
Biden did it
watching
somehow.
Right now tonight, and she's not asleep already.
You haven't figured that one out yet?
This is all just charity theater. I hate it when everyone does it.
For the lives we can save, the lives we've lost, let this be a truly American moment that rallies the country and the world together and proves that we can still do big things. 20 years ago, under the leadership of President Bush and countless advocates and champions, he undertook a bipartisan effort through PEPFAR to transform the global fight against HIV/AIDS. It's been a huge success. He thought big. He thought large. He moved. I believe we can do the same thing with cancer.
Whole different fucking animal, bro.
Let's end cancer as we know it. Sure, some cancers.
No, they'll give you an MR.
Once and for all.
Uh-oh. He's there pro
Folks,
bono.
There's one reason why we've been able to do all of these things.
Well, he's
Our
got a date
democracy
with
itself.
Harris after this.
It's the most fundamental thing of all. With democracy, everything's possible. Without it, nothing is. The last few years, our democracy has been threatened and attacked, put at risk, put to the test in this very room on January the 6th. And then just a few months ago, an unhinged big lie, assailant unleashed a political violence at the home of the then Speaker of the House of Representatives, using the very same language the insurrectionists used as they stalked these halls and chanted on January 6th. Here tonight in this chamber
Oh, is she gonna cry?
is a man
She's
who
gonna
bears
cry.
the scars of that brutal attack, but is as tough and as
Oh wait,
strong
no,
as
it's him.
resilient
Yeah,
as
what,
they
fucking
My
what's his
friend
Paul?
Paul Pelosi. Paul, stand up.
Got to cover the head wound with that hat.
Maybe you should vet homosexual. I think maybe he was a homosexual. You still gotta vet those.
Such a heinous act should have never happened. We must all speak out. There's no place for political violence in America. We have to protect the right to vote, not suppress that fundamental right. Honor the results of our elections, not subvert the will of the people. We have to uphold the rule of law and restore trust in our institutions of democracy. We must give hate and extremism in any form no safe harbor. Democracy must not be a partisan issue. It's an American issue. Every generation of Americans has faced a moment where they have been called to protect our democracy, defend it, stand up for it. And this is our moment. My fellow Americans, we meet tonight at an inflection point, one of those moments that only a few generations ever face. where the
He said that
direction
last time.
we now take is going to decide the course of this nation for decades to come. We're not bystanders of history.
I feel like he just said every
We're not
generation,
powerless
just like
before
2
the forces
seconds
that
ago.
confront us. It's within our power of we, the people. We're facing the test of our time. We have to be the nation we've always been at our best. Optimistic, hopeful, forward-looking. A nation that embraces light over dark, hope over fear, unity over division, stability over chaos. We have to see each other not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. We're good people. The only nation in the world built on an idea.
If you
The
agree
only
with
one.
him, you're good people.
Other nations are defined by geography, ethnicity. But we're the only nation based on an idea that all of us, every one of us, is created equal in the image of God. A nation that stands as a beacon of the world. A nation in a new age of possibilities. So I've come to fulfill my constitutional obligation to report in the State of the Union.
They
And
think
here's the way
Satan's
my
God.
report. Because the soul of this nation is strong. Because the backbone of this nation is strong. Because the people of this nation are strong. The State of the Union is strong.
Teetering on the fucking brink.
I'm not new to this place. I stand here tonight having served as long as about any one of you have ever served here. But I've never been more optimistic about our future, about the future of America. We just have to remember who we are. We're the United States of America, and there's nothing beyond our capacity if we do it together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
Why are they going to Ukraine? I hope there's a kid for him to sniff. He's had a hard day.
President Joe Biden calling on Congress to, in his words, finish the job, touting the laws passed so far during his presidency and calling for action on Democratic priorities from police reform to an assault weapons ban. The president delivered a call for
So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, that was something.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what it was, but it was something.
I was afraid I was going to have to do this by myself.
Dave,
Wouldn't
we
let
all
you
know you
die
don't
like
have stage fright.
Huh?
I said we know you don't have stage fright. You
I don't
could've
have
done this.
stage. Yeah.
It was a joke.
We're all aware.
No, it's just I don't want to be talking to myself. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it's weird. That's like, yeah, it would make me not want to do it. It's like, oh, you like, I want to do a shit. Well, no, not really, because I'm just, you can't just talk to yourself. I mean, some people can. I can't. It'd be fucking boring. Well, it was fun laughing at Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Oh, God. God, he's disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't know. How much of it did I miss?
Not much.
No.
I think it's pretty much all the same at this point.
Yeah, appeals to whatever you fucking patriotism and being quote unquote good, and then just throw in a whole bunch of bullshit you can spend and make you look good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder what the fact. I don't know. How much does anybody remember any of the previous ones? Like how much fucking bitching how much interrupting did Democrats do with Trump's?
A lot. They
Lot.
even ripped up the what was it? The
Well, I remember
stage.
that, but I'm not sure I remember him screaming quite as much or yelling. I don't know. I think I only watched the very last one. But, oh, fuck. I kind of was surprised he didn't have more people to trot out to use as
As
emotional
scapegoat?
heartstrings. Yeah.
You know that they tried.
I don't know. They could have done a lot more. They could have had like fucking little Enrique from Venezuela. Ooh, just done something like that.
Well, that's true too. But I think it's kind of what's the word for it? They've kind of you could kind of watch. She was what was it? The parents. I think they felt a little bit uncomfortable as hell after all this.
Yeah, you get invited to something like that, you're gonna be you're just being used as a pawn, basically. I'm like,
I think
yeah.
I'll bet you 10-1 they were so excited to do it, and then they got dragged to that, and
yeah.
Tell you what, Trump's Trump's State of the Union address in 2018 was like twice as long as this one.
Yeah. What the fuck was I gonna say?
It was much bigger. It was the greatest of states.
Huge.
And what you were saying was you're coming out of the closet.
No, that's for next week or on Saturday's show. Fuck. The hell was I gonna say? I wanted. Oh fuck! I can't remember.
That's considered old age.
Yeah, well, old age, a lot of solvents, you know. The brain drain. Probably alcohol doesn't help either.
I'll bet you 10-1 you really just need to do the line of whatever Biden was on.
Do the what?
Whatever Biden was on, a line of it.
Oh, I wish. I mean, he must have some real good shit. You know, I do kind of wonder about it. Like, well, how much fucking shit is he really? Like, what do they give him? Like, because it's such a fucking change. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised he had like an IV in his pocket with like a clicker. So, oh, he's fading. Hit him again. Oh. And you know what? America. Fucking guy. I wish politics could be different, where people weren't so dumb to be sucked in by all this emotional nonsense.
Well, look at
Here's little
AOC.
Timmy
He
with
was
one
bawling.
Oh yeah.
They're being racist.
Yeah, it's all fucking theatrics. Like, if you're a drama major and like to manipulate people, you can be a politician. That's why there's no hope for anything. The only people who want to be politicians are the least suited people to be politicians.
Like
we should find somebody not stupid and then just like ask them if they want to be president, and they're going to say fuck no, and then just like, yep, you're president now. Go fucking do it. Like, oh shit. Anybody who willingly
that way.
If somebody willingly runs, you got to be a fucking all sorts of mentally damaged, megalomaniac, narcissist, crazy motherfucker. Like, yeah, just those are the only people stupid enough to do that kind of thing.
Or they're trying to hide something, whatever they did.
Yeah, maybe. God, what the hell was I going to say? It was important, or mildly important.
You love Thermo's photos.
Oh, I didn't mind them. They weren't that bad.
Oh my god.
I like them a lot more than what you fucking send me. I'll take Nancy Pelosi in hell every day.
Oh, have you not seen the new one?
I don't know. Is there another one?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a spoiler now. Oh, fuck. Oh, God. No.
Any of our blind deals, it's a VP.
Man, that AI was generous to Miss Harris. Oh God. Well, better save it. This is why there's no quarter for me in hell. I'm going down, boys. It's going bad.
Just think, you'll have a room with our president.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to give me the preferred suite. They're going to give me like the worst hell. It's not going to be the good hell. Like, oh, I hear you want to be tortured by Nancy Pelosi in hell. Like, well, you know, not really, but if she's naked, but well, actually, you get Sam Hyde. Oh shit!
No, it'll be Biden.
God, Biden would just be a joke. I'm gonna give you the whip. Okay.
Well,
It doesn't even crack. Just falls against your back.
So I was at this for an hour and a half. So I guess I'll call it here.
We're not listening to the Republicans.
Calling her done.
Sweet.
Yeah, they boot.
Dave, I gotta send you that mic. You still have it somewhere around here. I don't know where it is. Anyway.
Am I still too far from my mic?
You sound. I think we had like a lot of issues with bandwidth today.
Yeah, it was.
You sound okay right now, but there was a lot of like roboting that was happening.
Oh. Okay.
We have to watch that shit in like I don't know, 480.
No,
No
20.
tit.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Either way.
By the time I do this again, I'll figure some of the crap out.
Yep, you gotta. It's all. There's all sorts of levels. Are always the fuck. They seem to be the most important thing all the time, and it's hard to tell because you can't hear yourself, so you don't know.
Yeah.
Getting the levels right on everything is a pain in the ass.
Well, I'm gonna in the stream here.
We're
For those,
watching diet.
for those watching, thank you for stopping by, and I'll catch you cats later. Bye.
See you.
Peace.